In this video, I will show you and explain to you some basic commands that will help you and make you more effective in using the terminal. I still remember when I started using the terminal, how I was intimidated by not having a mouse to move files and just having the keyboard. But now, after some time and practice, I feel that it's very easy to use the terminal. I'm using Kali Linux as a virtual machine installed on my Windows. And now let's get started by opening the terminal. I made the font size bigger to make you see better. Before we get into the basic commands, let's just talk about some shortcuts or some basic things that will make it easy to work in the terminal. And the first thing is Control-C, which is going to start a new line and cancel any running operation. So if you are running a command and it's taking too long, you can just press Control-C, and this is going to cancel it and start a new line. The second thing, if your terminal is full with information and you are kind of lost and you want to start a new fresh terminal, you can just type clear, which is going to clear the terminal. And one more thing, the terminal has a history, and you can navigate into the history, or you can recall some old commands that you used before by using the upper arrow on your keyboard. So if I'm gonna press on it now, it's gonna call what I used in the last session, or what I used before this command. And with the down arrow, you can go down or back. But this is how you navigate in the history of the terminal. Last but not least, using the tab in the terminal. So you can use the tab to complete commands, file names, and directory names automatically. For example, if I'm going to type cd to navigate to a directory, and then I'm going to type download, pressing tab is going to suggest the right name for me. So now, as you see, we have the right name, and if we press enter, it's there. Let's go back. And that's all for shortcuts. We explored 4 things. Number 1 is canceling operations and starting a new line. Number 2, clearing the terminal. Number 3, navigating into history. And number 4, completing commands and file names and directories automatically using tabs. Now let's start with the commands. The first command is going to be man, which is going to show us the documentation of this command, or the manual of this command or tool on Kali Linux. For example, if you want to know the manual of ls, so now we have the documentation of this command with examples and with options. And if we want to quit the manual, we just click on Q. The manual is very essential for using the terminal because it's going to give you detailed information about each and every command and its options. Now let's move to the second command, which is pwd, print working directory. And if you don't know where you are on Linux, so printing pwd is gonna print the working directory where your terminal is open. Now let's move to the third command, which is ls. And ls is for listing the directory contents. So if we press just ls, it's gonna list the test, which is a directory inside documents. Now let's go back. And then pressing ls again is going to show us all files in home Kali. Now ls has more options, as we saw in the manual of ls command. For example, using ls A is gonna list all documents, or it's gonna list all files directories in this folder, even the hidden ones, using ls. L is going to show the owner of the files and the user permissions on these directories and files. There are still more options, but I think that's all what you need to know now. Now let's move to the fourth command, which is cd. And cd is for changing a directory. So if you want to navigate to another directory, you use cd. For example, we can go to documents. Again, pressing tabs is gonna, and now we are inside documents, and we can go back by typing cd, two dots, and now we are back to home Kali. You can navigate to any folder using the cd command. Just type the right path to the directory and you are going to navigate to that directory. These are the most important commands for navigating inside Linux system: cd, ls, and pwd. Now let's move to another group of commands, which is more about creating, editing files. And let's start with making a directory, and we can make a directory by using mkdir, which stands for making a directory, and we can make, for example, a test directory. If we type ls and see if we were successful and create directory ls, and as you see here on the screen, we have a test directory, and that's all what you need to know about mkdir. I don't know if we can pronounce it as a whole word, but for me personally, I pronounce it mkdir or mkdir. Now let's move to another command, rmdir, which is going to remove the directory. And let's remove or delete the directory that we have just created. rmdir test. And let's list again. So it's deleted. So you see here, it was before videos and now it's not there. But this is just for removing empty directories. So if there are files inside the directory, it's not going to remove it. Now let's move to another command, which also deletes or remove files or directories, and it's rm. And this is the command. Let's create again a test directory. Now let's list to see it's there. Now let's navigate inside the test. And now let's create a file. We can create files with touch test.txt. Now let's go back to the folder before. Now we are back. Sorry, I think we are not back because it was one dot. Now we are back. Let's try to delete the directory mk here test. Sorry, I meant rmdir test. So it failed to remove test directory, not empty. So I just made this as an example. So rmdir is going to just remove empty directories. And to remove a directory with the files inside it, we need to use just rm test. And rm test didn't work as well because we need to add to it an option. And to remove it, we need to add r test So we need to tell the command that this is a directory and we want to remove it. And you see now it worked. So the result, you can remove empty directories using rmdia, but you can't remove directories with files inside them using this command. To remove this command, we need to use the rm command, remove, but we need to add an R if we are removing a directory. And that was all about removing, and that was all about creating a directory, removing a directory, empty or with files. Now let's move to creating files. You saw that I just created a file using touch, and this is going to be our next command. So touch is going to create new files. And let's create a new file. Now let's type ls as usual to see if we successfully created a file. And as you see now, it's there. We can update the timestamp of the files. I don't think it really matters now. You need just to know how to create a new file using touch. Now let's move to another command. And the new command is cp, which is used to copy files. For example, cp test.txt, and we can copy it to test2.txt. Or sorry, I need to activate the numpad. Says cannot state test.txt, no such files or directory. So because of the typo, I need now to correct it, and it's going to work this time. Yeah, it worked. If we type ls, you see we have two files. We copied the file successfully. So we can copy also to another directory. For example, let's copy the same file to a new directory. So to documents or to, and now let's go to a document to see if we, let's type ls. So we copied it to documents. Now let's go back. That's how you copy your files. Our next command is mv, and we can use it to move or rename files or directories. For example, if we want to move the test.txt to templates or to music, let's type mv test.txt and then the directory name. So I created, there was already a file in the music folder with the same name. So it asked me if I want to override the file, and I said yes. Let's go to the music folder to see if it's there. And let's type ls. And now we have two files, but one of them belongs to the user Kali and the other one belongs to another user. I know it because I did it in the preparation of this video. Now let's move to another topic, or a new topic, which is editing files in the terminal. And to edit files in the terminal, we have two text editors, and one of them is Nano and the other one is Vim. We're gonna try Nano this time. And let's open one of these files, test.txt. And now we are inside the file. And as you see on the bottom, we have some shortcuts that help us in navigating, in editing our text here. So let me just type hello. And if we want to quit the editor, we need, as you see here on the left side, so it's saying it's Control X. And let me press on Control X. And now it's asking me if I want to save. So I want to save. And I clicked on yes, or I typed Y as yes. Now it's asking me if I want to change the file name. Let's change test3.txt and then let's save. And now it's asking again if I want to save it under a different name. And I gave it yes. And now we are back in the editor. If we open it again, it's empty because I used the older command, and it's empty because we changed the file name. And let me exit now. And I'm gonna do ls. And as you see, we have now a third text file. You need just to practice to get used to the text editors inside the terminal. So the more you practice, the better you get in using text editors inside the terminal, or even in using the terminal in general. Now we saw how to edit files inside the terminal. Now let's see how we can read files inside the terminal. And for that we have cat command, which stands for concatenate and display files. Let's try to read the text file that we just created. I'm gonna type 3. And here, as you see, now we have the content of the file. And that's all about the cat command. So if you have any file and you want to read it from the terminal, you can always use the cat command. Now let's move to searching files. And for searching files, we have the grep command. And it's used for searching files. Now let's search for, you need to put the word that you are searching for inside two quotes. And then the name of the file. The name of the file is going to be test. And as you see, now we got the result. It's highlighted here. But what if we are searching for a word that is not there? The result is going to be empty. So it's very helpful if you are checking the logs of your system or the logs of a program running on your server, and you want to search, for example, for an error. So you can just use grep. Now let's move to another command, which is find. And find is going to search for files in a directory hierarchy. So for example, let's search for text.txt file. And first we need to put the folder name, and we are searching in home, and the name of the file we need to give it as a parameter or as an option, and then we put the name of the file .txt. And you see we got inside home music a test.txt, and we got another one inside documents, and here under home month, this is another user, we got another file, but it says that permission denied. So in order to overcome this permission denied problem, we need to add sudo, which is the root user or the super user. And this is how you search files in the Linux terminal. Now let's move to another group or category of commands. And these commands are more administrative commands. And the first one is stop, which is kind of a task manager, which is going to display all the running processes and tasks. And to exit the Linux tasks, you need to press on Ctrl C. Now we have a new line. We can type another command, and here you can see what kind of processes are running in the background of your systems, which is going to lead us to the next command, and the next command is going to be kill. And kill is used to stop any process. You need to use with kill the PID, which is the ID of the process. You need to type it after the kill command. There is no 25. Let us try with 7. I don't want to run it because it might crash the system, so I'm just gonna leave it as an example. And as you see in the task manager, we have here the name of the user who is running this process. You might need to use the sudo because the user who is running these processes is the root user. I'm not going to run it because I'm afraid of crashing the system, so you can try it by yourself. And the next administrative command is df, which is going to report file system disk space usage. And this is the result after running it. It's kind of not readable. So if you want to make it readable, you can add -h. Let's run it again with -h. And now you can see we have here some values. We have 1.2 gigabytes. We have 248 megabytes. This is the amount of disk space used and available space on the file system. Now let's move to the next command, which is du, which is gonna estimate the file space usage. So the df is more about the file system, and the du is just about the files. So now let's use it to see size of the text3.txt, and it's 4, but we don't know what's this for. So let's change to a human readable format. We can also use the same option with h, and now you see we have 4 kilobyte. There are other 2 important commands, but I'm gonna leave them for another video because you need to understand the file permissions on Linux to understand these 2 commands. And these 2 commands are chmod, which means change the permission, and or modify the permission. And the other one is change the owner of the file, chown. But as I said, you need to understand the file permission on Linux to understand how they work or how both of them work. And that was all for this video. We learned how to navigate inside the terminal, how to create files, copy them, move them, edit them, read them inside the terminal without using any other app. We learned also some administrative tasks like checking the tasks that are running on our Linux system and how to stop some tasks or processes using kill. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any question, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.